I do love it when she starts, because she doesn't always start. She can be a prick, and there's no doubt about it. She seems to start an awful lot easier now that we got that diesel filter sorted, so that simple little thing has made a big difference to this tractor. And even know it when she's going uphill and doing wee jobs. Just when the needs that extra wee bit of power, it's there now. It wasn't there before. So it's just a small little thing that took 5 minutes to take out and clean. Just not knowing about it, we didn't do it. That's the only reason. But it made such a difference to the tractor. So normally what I do is I top fields as soon as the cows come out of it. Always within a few hours, because you don't want to be topping any regrowth whatsoever. So I always top it as quick as I can get the cows out. We were away yesterday, which was Sunday, and I didn't top this paddock. Top of it, cows tend to spend most of their time up at the top of that paddock, and the grades sit bare as can be. But down at the bottom here we've quite a lot of grass, as you can see there, with quite a lot of regrowth there coming. So I'm not going to top this bottom bit. Well, I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to top the top part of the field first, and then when I get down here I might raise the top link up, just it out that it's only skimming the top of it, because I don't want to really, you don't want to be topping regrowth either, like, and we've got a real burst of growth here at the minute. There's a lot of bag stuff on these fields, and they're really just bursting out of the ground. So we're just going to play it by ear and see how we get along. But you might wonder why there's green patches through the field, as you can see there, all different coloured patches the whole way through. Well, that's actually just dung pads where cows have dunged. If cows were under a little bit more pressure and been forced to graze it tighter, they probably would eat a lot closer to them and there wouldn't be so many. But grass is growing well now. We need to keep cows moving because we don't want to be holding them back too much, and restricting them on what they can eat, because then you can see a little bit of a drop in the tank. They don't like grazing too tight to the dung pads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten them all out. The mower, when this mower will spread them all out over the field, refertilise the area. So you're not only topping, you're actually spreading the dung pads, which is just as important. You might have noticed the curtains on top of the mower is quite stiff and quite hard, and I'm having to pat it down. That's just basically because it's covered in dung inside. The dung has dried up and just leaves it a bit hard. So that's one of the unfortunate things about using a mower to top. It does tend to be very dirty. It's a dirty job, but look, it's worth doing. That's the top half of this paddock after being topped. Now, I didn't do this part here because there actually is way too much grass in it. We'll look at that in a second. But up here we can have a better look at why I prefer a disc mower over a topper. So as you can see here, a lot of the dung pads are all flattened out. They're all spread over the field, and it gives the grass time to come up through the dung pads rather than having them in piles all over the place. What you'll end up then is you'll have bunches of grass growing. Cows will not eat anywhere near that, so the mower is definitely great for spreading that all out and just giving you a much better finish. So if I had to pick a disc mower over a topper, I would pick the disc mower just for that purpose alone. That is great for it to spread that dung all over the field. It's nearly as good when you have a lot of cows in a small field over a long period of time. You get a lot of dung that builds up, and it's almost as good as slurry in the field. So you're doing the field good all the time. So the second thing about the topper is obviously the way it cuts the grass. You get a piece of grass here now that's after being cut with the mower. So you can see you've got a lovely square cut on that piece of leaf of grass there now, and that's exactly what you want when you want grass to grow quickly. Just a nice quick cut, nice sharp quick cut across the top, which encourages the grass to grow an awful lot faster. With a topper or conventional topper, nothing wrong with a topper, but in this case, when you're dairy farming and you want grass to grow that a little bit faster, it tends to batter the grass. If you look at the blades on a topper compared to the blades on a mower, blades on a mower are sharp, they're a lot smaller and a lot sharper. On a topper, depending on whether you have a single rotor or a two rotor, you tend to have just got two large blades at the end of each arm of that rotor. So if you have one rotor, you have two blades, and so on. But them blades are designed, if you look at the way they're actually made, they're designed to batter or chop more than cut. They're never designed to actually cut grass. If you went into a field of silage with a topper, it's going to die down instantly because it won't have the power to go through the grass. It won't have the cutting capacity to cut the grass quicker. Now a topper is still good on some circumstances where your ground maybe is rough. Topper can be good on them circumstances, but for everything else, if you're dairying or if you're a beef farmer or anything like that where your paddocks is in reasonably good condition, mower just leaves the topper for dust. A lot of people have asked me about pre-mowing. Now pre-mowing is where basically you go in and you mow the grass down in front of the cows and let them eat it off the ground rather than them eat it, then you coming in after and topping the field. That is a brilliant thing. Not many people around here do it. When you start doing it and doing it right, it is brilliant. Now when I mean doing it right, this paddock for instance would graze the cows, this centre paddock here, probably 3 grazings. So I would not come in and cut this whole paddock and then just strip graze it into 3 sections, because depending on the weather again, you don't want the grass to dry out either. A lot of people will come in and cut it. I've seen them doing that, and okay, but not for me. I have found the best way to do it is to keep your grass as fresh as possible. I was splitting this into 3. I would mow this section here, first section, just about 2 hours before the cows be let in, as close as possible basically, and then I'd have another field ready somewhere else that I would be fit to mow after milking. That way that the next grazing comes around, they're going into it. So I'm always trying to keep the grass as fresh can be, at least probably within a few hours of when they go into it. Tried the other way and seen that we had a little bit of a drop in milk production, but we're doing it with fresh grass, keeping the grass fresh. We've noticed our milk production has increased. Another thing as well I might add is you all get paddocks that get strong in the summertime. This year hasn't had that real problem because we had that drought that came in, and grass growth was probably the poorest I've seen in that time of year in my lifetime. If we had strong paddocks, we would try to graze some of them out. It happens every year, but when cows go into really strong grass, you might think that's great. They're going to be full very quickly, they've loads to eat. It's not. In dairying, the type of grass that you're putting cows in is very, very important. So what I mean by that is your paddocks that are strong. Normally what we would do would be we'd mow them down and we'd bale them, just to keep the grass going, because if you let them into them kind of paddocks, it slows them up, the drop in milk production, and you'll find the next paddock gets strong, then the next paddock is strong, and yes, it builds up in front of you. So you're mowing out paddocks and baling them. Nitrogen levels can be quite high, your bales might be that great that you're taking off them. That's the way most people would generally do it. With pre-mowing, it's completely different. Pre-mowing has taken that all out of it. You get a paddock now that's strong, we'll come in with a mower, with a disc mower, we'll mow it in front of them, strip graze it that way, and we have found no decrease in milk production. Actually we've found an increase. So it has changed the ball completely. Cows are spending less time on their feet grazing as well. They'll find the cows are laying down quicker and they're chewing their cud, so they're using up less energy to consume grass, which is another good plus. So this mower we have is a JF Stoll SB 2405. This is our 6th year with it. It has really done well for us, never has given us any trouble. Not in any shape or form has it ever given any trouble. It has been really reliable. We just sharpen the blades and that's everything we've ever had to do to it. We've never actually had to change a blade in it yet. Touch wood, I always say these things and then after the video is made, we'll be changing blades. But so far, we have swapped the blades around. They were double edged, so we swapped them around. We're on the other side now, but we just give them a run with a grinder every few weeks and keeps them nice and sharp, and that's another very important thing. But the day I went to pick this up, I had a new Abbey fully offset topper bought, I think it was an 8 or 9 foot or something around that. But I had it bought, and I was just going up to pick it up. Arrived into the garage, it just wasn't fully ready. Boys were just doing a few more jobs and putting it together. And I got talking to this old fella, and no idea who he was, but we just got talking, and he seen that I was buying a topper. Told me that I was completely wrong to ever consider buying a topper. He said a disc mower had changed their lives. It had changed the way they'd done things on the farm. They had increased in cow numbers. He said it'll pay for itself in a very short amount of time, he said, if it's used correctly. And he actually talked me into it, seen this mower sitting on it in the yard, and I asked him the price of it. It was a few thousand dearer than the topper. We managed to make a deal on it, and I ended up taking the mower home. My father seen me come up the lane expecting to see a topper, and seen this yoke sticking up in the air, and he says, "What in the name of God did you buy?" And I had to convince him then that I bought the right thing, but I was really happy I did so. Before we owned this, I had an Abbey semi-offset. We had a major 8 foot fully offset. I bought it second hand. It wasn't in good style, but it worked perfect. Big heavy machine, done well. But the grass growth we noticed on our farm that year after getting the mower, I think I bought it in early March at the time. I couldn't believe it. I think if anyone's dairying or in beef farming and your land's in a reasonable condition, and remember, they're not that delicate. People will tell you they'll break easily. They're not. That mower has mowed some really rough ground. So I wouldn't worry about too many people telling you that it's easy broken. There's people out there who will break a crowbar in a bog, and there's people that will look after stuff. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I would say to you, if you're considering buying a new topper, or you're due to buy a new topper, mower is the way to go. Just spend the extra few quid and get a mower. Don't have to go brand new. Get a second-hand disc mower, but it is definitely the way to go. That was filmed in probably late August, hence the reason that the weather is so nice, because if you're thinking to yourself, how come his land is so dry and the sun's out and it's the end of November? That's why. Sat on the shelf and didn't get put together, and then I kind of says, well, it's kind of gone out of season now. I was going to leave it then and put it up in the springtime, but then loads of people were messaging me asking me, what about that video? Are you ever going to put it up? So just said, right, okay, there you are, you have it there now. So by no means is that a video telling you that one is better than the other, because there's no such thing. A topper is suited to some farms and mowers are suited to the others. It's just you can pick what suits you. But to give you an idea, on our farm, I thought only a topper would work on our farm. I thought this mower was going to be too easy broke. Turns out, best decision I ever made in regards to investment on the farm, because it's just paid for itself. I suppose in the first 2 seasons, it definitely, maybe even less, it paid for itself. Well suited our farm. I'd never ever look at a topper again. Mower is the only way to go, so I hope that it helps you a little bit. So with that said, I was just on the computer this morning, and I was just having a quick look, and I noticed that we are almost at 20,000 subscribers. We're just about 40 off 20,000, which is unbelievable. Thank you so much. Channel has just blown us all away. The growth of it and the response that we're getting from people is just unbelievable. Remember, it's only 14 months since we started this whole thing, so thank you so much for supporting the channel. Until the next one, folks, I'm going to get editing here this video up for you on Sunday, which is tomorrow. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to be clipping cows, so I might get a video up Wednesday. I'm not sure yet. It depends how busy and how the thing goes and how the weather is as well, so we'll see how that goes on. But anyway, folks, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, hit that sub button, give us a like, ring that little bell in the right hand corner, notify you when our videos is up. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again.